Back from the seventh circle of hell, it's Steve Morrow.
With Creepy Places of New England, another episode. Hey, right now we're at Old Burial Hill. Old Burial Hill was established in 1638. It's actually one of the oldest graveyards in New England. It's also the site of the first meeting house. 600 Revolutionary heroes and several early pastors were all interred at the top of this hill that we're going to see.
Oh my God, Steve! How the hell did you know all that information off the back of your head?
I can read.
Oh, you're such a cheater. Well, here's something in the cemetery. In 1648, there was built upon the hill the first meeting house in Marblehead dedicated to the worship of God.
You can read too.
Yeah, I can read too. So it's actually somewhere up here. I'm assuming actually where the gazebo is. Well, this cemetery is actually appropriate because this cemetery is actually very creepy. I mean, you know, they're very old for one thing. It means some of the tombstones go back to the 1600s, and some of them have like the creepiest things on it. Like, look at this one down here. It's like a death angel, and a lot of the tombstones and artwork express many of the Puritans' viewpoints and art and expressions they had. So you got the little death thing right here, and over here, you know, little angel. So, and let's see what else he got more. You know, nice plants. Oh, here's another death angel one. So, hi. This baby right here is known as the Fisherman's Monument. It was dedicated in 1848 by the Marblehead Charitable Seaman Society. Yep, that's correct. And it was in dedication to all the people in this area, all the fishermen who died in various accidents and storms. As you might have known, Marblehead and actually much of Salem was a fishing society, obviously, because it's right next to the Atlantic Ocean. Now, this monument, the idea for the monument came from an incident on September 19th, 1846. There was a fleet from Marblehead off the coast of Newfoundland when they got hit by a hurricane. And yes, you know, this area does have some severe hurricanes. After the hurricane was done, 11 ships sank and 65 men died. So the families and people formed that Seaman Society, and after enough funds was collected, they erected this monument. And now a bunch of people from the area are now dedicated to lost at sea. Here's like more tombstones, and one thing I want to point out that for tombstones, these suckers are big. Steve, how tall do you think these tombstones are, especially these three right here?
Well, I know I'm 6 feet tall, and this goes right up to my face, so it's like, you know, a good 5.5.
Yeah, and I just think that's kind of interesting. I usually don't see many of these tombstones that are just like so tall. It's like Skyscraper City here. Here's another one that's quite tall too. Sarah Russell, widow of Thomas Russell, 1840. This is actually the crypt, or the place that she's actually buried. It's like it's a little mound right here. And look at, there's sailboats. This is Red's Pond, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that Red's Pond later. Again, a lot of these tombstones don't necessarily have the most, you know, uplifting of artwork. You know, get another death one over there. Then over here,
it's in Latin.
Skulls and Crossbones, which is, as Steve has said, is actually in Latin. It might be like the whole Puritan thing. Oh, 1770. Wow, that is a nice picture of death on the tombstone. Oh, hi, Death.
Hey, I just wanted to point out, talking about historic preservation of tombstones, we're up here on top of a hill right at the ocean, so they get a lot of decay and a lot of winds, and the historical society, I would suppose, is the one fixing these monuments, building real monuments around the old ones to protect them. And just take a look at that.
Yeah, that's scary. I wonder how come Rhode Island doesn't bother about its monuments. Are they too busy replacing everything with like Walmarts and Dunkin' Donuts?
Ah, they're just full of crackheads and drunks.
Oh, that's right. Another little spooky little tombstone. Again, this one they looks like they're really trying to preserve it. Why? So far it looks like it's one of the most oldest tombstones we've ever seen. 1690. That is really cool. Again, another death skull picture too. More spooky tombstones all over the place. These really are creepy looking, and you can tell they're very old. I mentioned earlier Redd's Pond. Now here is Redd's Pond. Now this is named after a woman named Wilmot Red. And here's a memorial to her. Wilmot Red of Marblehead, an innocent victim of the Salem Witch Trials, hanged on September 22nd, 1692. Okay, her house, I think, was actually buried around here somewhere, hence why they actually dedicated this and named the water after her. Her nickname was Manny, and she wasn't very popular with the women folk in the area, you know, those Puritan women. And on May 31st, 1692, she was indicted, and the person who did it was Jonathan Corwin and John Hawthorne. Jonathan Corwin was kind of famous, per se, and he's been kind of, he's also, some of these people in the area will call him the evil sheriff. And she was, and then they got her, and on September 17th, she was convicted. And as you can see, on September 22nd, 1692, she was hanged. It'll be interesting to note, and why they have a monument to her, is that she was also the only citizen of Marblehead to be indicted and hanged. See, around here. By the way, Marblehead is like right next door to Salem, so it's actually sort of like an offshoot of Salem. And now, what's with the cemetery that is kind of like also somewhat infamous and known for? Supposedly, Wilmot Red has cursed this area. You know, I guess she was a little pissed off that she died. And some people have said, particularly I guess old-timers have said, that you could actually hear her yelling out, "This town shall burn." And there's also been a lot of rumors that some people have actually believed that she was the only true witch to be hanged, but there's no indication really that she was ever really a witch. And matter of fact, I'm sure all those people during the Salem Witch Trials who were hanged or convicted or even jailed were real witches. So that's interesting. Now, might be wanting to know that even though there's a dedication to her, she is not buried in this cemetery. She's actually buried in the Burying Point Cemetery in Salem, Massachusetts.
I got one, I got something.